Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm your host, Rebecca Miller, and our co-host is Otto Los. And now we're going to be talking with Kristina Liu, the radio show producer of Project Independence in You, who pulls everything together for every program. And Kristina, today's program, of course, was just incredible. The great guests, great information. I think we could have gone on for a couple of hours, and learned a lot. It's just very cool. I learned a lot. Otto, you had some really, really good questions that kind of framed it, and it was really good. So I know we'll be having them back, and I know you were saying during the break that we'll probably be doing some programming with them as well. The Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so, the Alzheimer's Association, we've been doing a lot with for years, with Project Independence and programming. So they had some changes in representatives. So we actually had a meeting with them because they're interested in providing different programs for PI, and, whether it's, once a month or 3 months, whatever it might be, because as we know from what we just did, there's so much to talk about. In this whole world of, of Alzheimer's, dementia, and it's, and I've seen the different programs that they offer, and it's nice because it's like, so you can have a specialized session because there is so much to really tackle about this too. So it's definitely.
Larry Cardano, who happens to be my audiologist, but he's been on the show a few times. He recently ran a seminar with the Alzheimer's Association, specifically related to hearing and how it could mislead you into believing you have Alzheimer's, or frankly, make the problem even worse.
It's funny you said, because I was actually, I always think about that because my grandfather, when he was alive, he had severe hearing issues. And we always used to, when he'd have to, for different reasons, he'd have to go into the hospital or whatever, and they'd be talking to him, and we'd had to keep making it clear that he couldn't hear out of his right ear, and because they were, and I remember it was close, and my mom was like, I don't know how many times, because Barbara lost it, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, he can't hear, because they were like, oh, I don't know, he's not understanding. And she's like, that's because he just can't hear what you're saying, so it's such a, so I'm glad you guys brought that up, because, and then on the flip side, Otto, what you also said, someone, I think with hearing loss, a lot of times, because they can't hear, they're not necessarily participating in certain things or have a whatever it might be. So it does kind of further, exacerbate an issue. So it's definitely goes hand in hand, those two things.
Yeah, I mean, you can't remember what you don't hear.
Right.
Bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, I'm a big one and it took me 7 years to admit that I had to get a hearing aid, but that's a typical number. But anybody who's listening who does have a hearing problem, do something about it, please. It may cost you a few dollars. There's all kinds of things going on, but it makes such a huge difference when you can hear what's going on around you. It does. Yeah. It really does. And you don't know what you don't hear. You have no idea. You know what you don't see, but you don't know what you don't hear.
Mm-hmm. Right, because loved ones can misinterpret that too. Because like you were saying, Kristina, too, if you're not hearing, you're not engaging, and you're isolating, and, I think it just, you become very, very self-isolated.
Yeah.
And,
and I think we all know, or had a family member or someone we've known, everyone's having a conversation and that person isn't participating and so it's like you're not able to even stimulate your brain in certain things because you can't participate, so it's really a complicated issue. And I remember, I think a couple of years ago, the Alzheimer's Association actually did a whole program about, hearing and the correlation. So it's certainly something I definitely want to have them back on our radio program a lot, because I think, obviously as the years go on, hopefully there's, better technology and more screening to whatever it might be, that you could really tackle it, and whatnot and stay ahead of it. Because I think people hear it and they're like, oh God, it's,
based on absolutely no real knowledge of the subject. All right. Mm-hmm. But I'm willing to predict that in the future, and I've seen things now going on where they actually will perform surgery on the brain like they're performing surgery on a computer, if you will. They know this section does that and this section does whatever. It's way out of my league.
But you heard it here first. Otto placed in his prediction.
Well, because I believe there are people who it is in their league and they are working on it. And I don't believe it's going to be in my lifetime, but I do believe in many people's lifetime, the ability to work on the brain, if you will, is going to be there, hopefully in a positive way.
And I think also it's important, and that's what I like on this show, where we're able to have organizations like, the Alzheimer's Association, because there's so many things that are out there with so many resources and ways to connect you and help you, and, November is, caregiver month for, especially related to Alzheimer's. So I was always, because it's so much on the caregiver for that, and you don't know where to begin or how to connect or what to do next, and I think it was so wonderful in your conversation because they really told you, there's all different kinds of tools and questions and what to look for and know how to get connected. So it's really great.
One of the things that really got me more aware, I think, of this whole thing, CBS had a show on where they covered a couple from the early diagnosis of Alzheimer's to 10 years later. And the husband was the caregiver throughout the whole process. And you see what he was like at the beginning and what he was like at the end of the 10 years. And the need for caregivers to get help. Don't do it all alone, which is what this man tried to do. And you can't, and I think, fortunately, I'm not there. I've witnessed it many times. But don't feel guilty about the fact that you can't do everything all the time. Get help. You're allowed to take care of yourself, have some enjoyment out of life while the process is going on. It's not easy. I'm not saying it is. There's nothing easy.
Of course, it's that balance. We talk about that a lot on this program and, within Project Independence in general is, it's so based on the person who's sick or has some kind of issue, and so then the caregiver is really not taking care of themselves, a lot of times. And I think it's so important because it really affects, both parties in this. And I just want to give out that helpline number again. We'll have it up at the end too of the video if you're watching the video. For the Alzheimer's Association Long Island, it's the 24/7 helpline, and that's 1-800-272-3900. I just think that's great, especially the fact that it's 24/7. I think that's just so wonderful.
I know they said that from anywhere in the country you can call that number, right?
Yeah.
I think in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said they speak God knows how many languages.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was great. So definitely stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have in the next year some more programming with the Alzheimer's Association.
So Kristina, before we go on with what's happening in the town, I just wanted to mention what's happening here at CGM, only because I don't know if you can hear it. It's getting kind of loud. Have you guys heard it?
No, I have not.
No.
Oh, okay. Good. So it's just today. It's they're honoring Peter Gong. He's being inducted into the Veterans Hall of Fame by Senator Anna Kaplan. So there's a lot of people here, and they were just doing some announcements, and I thought maybe you heard it, so I just wanted to put it out there. So it's a really nice ceremony going on here.
Oh, good.
So there's a live ceremony going on. Now, where does that fit as far as the town goes for future events at Clinton Lawton?
Well, everything is spaced and everybody's wearing masks and, I don't think there's a lot of people there, but I think it's, going in the direction, following the strict protocols. Of course, the town does go over where you have to wear your mask in all town facilities, regardless of social distancing. Everyone has to wear a mask. Even in our office, the only time I don't have to wear a mask is when I'm in my office, when we're all in our own little area. But once someone comes near, mask on. And, of course, if I stand up to go somewhere. So, I don't know the plans on the behalf of the rest of the town, what they're doing. But, this is an event that's happening now, and I can assure you there's not a lot of people, and they are social distancing and everyone's wearing masks.
Yeah, and I think, we're clearly in a state of, we're not sure sometimes, you plan this and you plan, so we're still in kind of a weird gray area, but there are some PI programs that are gradually meeting, in person. And then frankly, there's a lot that chose not to. So it's kind of, we're just trying to find the balance between all of these.
And we have some hybrids too, a little bit of both, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some changes, I'll tell you. I always was going for a long time to an AARP chapter meeting at Clinton Martin Park.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things, really. One was, as time marched along, the membership declined, but they were still coming.
Mm-hmm.
People were still coming. But as a result of COVID and the whole process, basically that chapter has dissolved. So there will be organizations and groups and whatnot that, because they couldn't meet like they did and they didn't do Zoom stuff, are going to disintegrate, if you will.
Yeah.
So when it does finally come back, there probably will be less organizations trying to get space, if you will, which you have to get approval for at Clinton Martin, as an example. What's that worth? I don't know. Bottom line is that COVID obviously has affected a lot of things.
Of course, and that's what I think, everyone's got to kind of, and plus, we're like entering the winter, so I feel like let's, reevaluate things in the spring, with a lot of these different, programs. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Obviously, any updates we have here, we'll certainly, mention here. But some programs that are meeting in person, actually, we have our men's discussion group meets in the library, the Hillside Library. So they just started doing that. And of course, there's, strict protocol and spacing, whatnot for that program. So I think that's, if you're a men's group, you're able to do that. That group was meeting via Zoom, during the whole the height of the pandemic. But now they are meeting, at the library, and that's Fridays. So it's gonna be December 3rd, 10th, and 17th at 10:30. So you can call, and you have to register for these things because, as we really want to make sure we don't have too many people and that it's able to be spaced out correctly. But for instance, we also have a social group, and they all wanted to continue meeting via Zoom. So they're still meeting through Zoom, and they're on Thursdays at 11:30. And it's really a great group. Beck, I know you've facilitated that group, Zoom hosted that group many a times, and they have wonderful discussions in that social group. So I think that's a great opportunity, and it's nice because we have something kind of for everyone, right? And as I said, in the spring, I'm sure there will be, more that come along with that as well. We also have, that's been meeting now for a couple of weeks, is the Golden Hearts Bingo group, which is really wonderful because that meets at the Roslyn Community Center, and that's in person, at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that's on Thursdays. And what's nice about the Golden Hearts discussion group is, Golden Hearts Bingo, is that it's facilitated by the nurse and the social worker. So it's Krista and Joanne for that region. So you can play some bingo, but you can also get a blood pressure screening and sit with the nurse and sit with the social worker, which is really, really great too. And you can actually use our medical transportation program to get there, which is really wonderful.
Kristina, that group is like roughly how many people do they get? Do you have any idea?
It depends. So it could be anywhere. It's usually between probably 8 to 10, I'd say right now.
And it's on right at the premises of Clinton Martin?
No, that's at Roslyn Community Center.
Oh, right, okay.
Roslyn.
Yeah, that's at Roslyn, which is 53 Orchard Street in Roslyn Heights. But it's in the big auditorium over there, so they're definitely you can win prizes. I know there are some great prizes there too. But I like that you can have some fun and also really have a one-on-one with the social worker and nurse, which I know a lot of people were kind of missing that, face-to-face interaction. So, but as Beck said, masks are required in all of our town facilities. So just remember that. Things can get a little confusing. Go ahead.
Is there such a thing as a schedule for groups that are meeting at Clinton Martin Park?
What do you mean?
No, so yeah, like it used to be that there was an AARP group on Wednesday morning, I think, and then there was another one on Friday and whatever. Is there a schedule of the groups that do meet at that place?
I do believe if you go to the town's website, there are senior groups that meet. They do their own permitting.
Right, it's not through us, right? It's through.
We don't kind of book their, the different groups that meet there, New Hyde Park. But on the website, I believe it does have what group meets on what day and who the contact people are for each group, that kind of a thing. So that's
why you can also just call 311. All that stuff kind of goes through the Parks Department, really. And due to COVID, there have been a lot of changes to all those groups too. So I'm not sure even some groups aren't accepting anyone else or whatever it might be. So there's all different kind of rules depending on the different groups. So.
Yeah, well, Bunny used to book the room for the AARP chapter that we were going to. And a couple of people have talked, well, maybe we could take this handful or group of people and go into another group of some kind that meets at Clinton Martin Park. So that's the reason I asked the question, personal reason. But there might be other people who have the same scenario.
No, it's definitely, and that's why I was recommending everyone to call 311 because I wish we had all the updated information, but unfortunately it doesn't go through our department. But it's definitely worth calling 311 or 516-869-6311 because I keep forgetting we have to say 516 now. We have to get in the habit of the 516.
It's true. We do have to do that, but we actually have to take a quick break. We've been talking with Kristina Liu, the fabulous radio show producer, about Talk of the Town, and then we'll be right back to continue.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Your host, Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los, co-host extraordinaire, and Kristina Liu, the fabulous radio show producer who pulls the radio show together every single week with guests and updates. And of course, right now we're in our segment, Talk of the Town, and we're talking about anything that comes to mind, and also what's happening in the town of North Hempstead. Certainly, we're next week's Thanksgiving, so there's things that normally would happen that aren't happening too. I just wanted to put it out there, if I might. I didn't want to wait until the end. Project Independence transportation for Thanksgiving week is extremely limited. Especially if you travel with the All Island regions. They have they're a little short on staff next week, and a lot of reservations for the for going to the airport and all those kinds of traveling. So they gave us a heads up just to let us know that it's going to be tight next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And what they did was, and what we did, we're offering food shopping Saturday and Sunday. So if you normally go during the week, it's probably a better idea to get whatever you need for Thanksgiving prior to Monday, Tuesday, because in addition to it being mob scene, there's probably not going to be a huge selection. So if you normally shop during the week, we strongly recommend that you call 311-516-869-6311 to book your rides for Saturday and Sunday. They're actually going to the supermarket for that All Island region from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You should have your return ride booked before 3 p.m. So that's Saturday and Sunday. You could do your food shopping.
And that's only, though, Beck, for the All Island region, the Saturday and Sunday dates?
So mainly for that. However, on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and of course, Thanksgiving, there is no Project Independence transportation. unless it's for essential treatments, people that have already pre-scheduled. We have, riders for people that, get treatments that are life-sustaining, chemo and dialysis and things like that. And that's the only rides we're going to be doing. So it's Wednesday and Thursday. It's all of the regions, all the taxi companies we're closed essentially. And Friday, everything returns to normal. So that's the 26th, I think. So Friday the 26th, everything normal.
Yes.
And, we're just opening up the weekends because normally we no longer PI transportation is not open on the weekend, but it is going to be open this weekend just for the All Island region. So please call 311. Don't forget, today's Friday. So if you're thinking you're going to shop next week in the All Island region, it's likely you may not be able to get a ride, or there'll be lots and lots of delays. So yeah. And also there's no in-person fitness classes next week. So it's for the whole week. So anybody who goes to any of the sites, Port Washington Activity Center or Clinton Martin or Yes We Can Community Center, and for any of the Project Independence fitness classes, there won't be any that next
But
week.
they'll just have to watch North Hempstead TV and do their fitness at home.
Us. Yeah, it's true.
That's it. There's always a good solution. You can have a full, stay at home and watch, the radio show and then do your PI exercise.
Now, Christine, what time do
Your week's all set.
you do yours? What time do you do yours? Your
Thanksgiving?
exercise?
Oh, my exercise? Listen, I'm probably a late nighter.
She watches.
Around. It's a lot of late night movement going on in the Lou household. And listen, the amount of laundry that I schlep up and down the stairs for my parents, I think is,
It all counts.
It really, listen, my mom's yelling at me, you're going to hurt yourself, because it's a giant thing. So
You need it. We actually send the laundry out, and they pick it up, they bring it back. Shirts.
I actually don't mind it. It's one of the few things I find kind of
yes.
relaxing. I don't because the washer and dryer is downstairs in my house, so I've always been, since we moved here, the washing machine and queen over here, and my friends call me the laundry lady because I'm just constantly in a state of doing laundry between downstairs and upstairs my parents. So. Oh, Beck, you were just, I don't hear you, Beck.
You seem to be muted.
Oh, we don't hear Beck.
Yeah,
You're
not. It doesn't show muted.
But Otto, I think you brought up a good point, because I know with seniors too, that's a very difficult kind of situation. The laundry situation. A lot of people live in houses, where the washer and dryer are in the basement, which can be a huge, dangerous situation. Think about that though. How that's hard. I look at my own self just from doing it upstairs and downstairs, and then a lot of these basement stairs are narrow. So to bring that up is certainly hard. And we've had calls into 311 about, helping putting different railings up, and we've done a lot of that. And also, I think, Otto, what you said, there's so many services now to send it out, and it's not a huge costly thing. So I think that's not a bad idea, really.
Well, we do it every 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have 3 weeks worth of backup changes of clothes and whatever. But if you add up what you spend over a year on soap and detergent, all the different kinds of stuff that you need, you probably come out, it's expensive to buy that stuff now. And then the work involved.
No, you're right. And there really are. There's so many different deals and stuff. So I think that's actually not a bad idea. So,
Otto, I take a survey with a lot of my friends going back to laundry. What part of the laundry do you hate the most? Do you hate the actual washing and drying of the clothes, the folding of the clothes, or the putting away of the clothes? So that's always been my survey. What part of doing laundry is the part that,
the only part we have is putting it away.
Well, but it wasn't always that way, I assume.
It's been that way for quite a while, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
We've used laundry service for quite a while. It's a luxury that we take. you know, when we had 6 kids living home, they took turns doing the laundry. Everybody had a job to do. And, this week on Wednesday was your job. Friday was this one's job.
Right.
And of course, it didn't always work perfectly, but the ground rules were there. Well, when that ended and it was just Bunny and I, we kind of said, why don't we just let somebody do the laundry and make believe, like we try to make believe in the house that we're in a condo. We don't do a whole lot. I mean, I do some basic stuff, but nothing, I'm not going to rebuild the whole house.
Right.
And yeah, it's to me, it's a luxury. And right now, I think we talked, Bunny has had a knee replacement.
Yeah.
And as a result of the knee replacement, she has a lot of pain, and doing anything really is not easy. So that brings me to another one that's a pretty good thing, is our kids pitched in and got us a gift certificate for Uber Eats. So we don't starve to death, of course,
That's great too.
So Uber Eats is, what was mentioned earlier in the Alzheimer's Association session about the world has changed. You can get anything now. You can get a McDonald's Big Mac delivered, Now, is it going to cost you? Yes. But what I try to point out to seniors is when they lose their license, they also lost the expense of the car insurance, the maintenance of the car,
gas,
and all of the above. All right. So if you really add up what you spent on your car, and then you add up against it what you're going to spend for All Island or whoever, or Uber Eats to get food, you're probably doing pretty good. You're probably ahead of the game. Car insurance is not cheap. Maintaining a car is not cheap. If you didn't own the car, buying or leasing the car is not cheap. So you add up all that money, and you can spend a lot of money on things like taxis and Uber Eats and whatever.
Right.
Assuming you can afford it. I'm not saying everybody can.
No, well, you guys, I'm back. I disappeared for a little bit with my connection, but I'm back. I hope everyone sees me and hears me.
We see you.
We missed you.
But what you're talking about, Otto, I could speak from like experience, because I laugh because my mom, when my brother lived here, and my mom are the king and queen of, DoorDash, and all these different things. But my mom's like, listen, she's like, I don't feel like going out sometime. My mom's getting older. She doesn't like necessarily want to, so, but it's like a revolving door of, Amazon and DoorDash deliveries in this house. But, you're right. And of course, obviously you need to have the technology to do these things. But if you do, it's certainly something that's nice. My mom even used something once. She needed like paper towels from like so she used DoorDash, I think it was, to get like paper towels from 7-Eleven or something. It was something random. But, of course there are, fees and different costs. But, for someone who can, and my mom, she tries to avoid, large things, because of, COVID and whatnot. So she's like, if I don't have to, I'm like not gonna like stress myself out and in these different stores. So
do you
you're
tip?
right.
Do you tip if you get?
Yeah, because on the app itself, you can just do it right through there, and boom, you're done. So it's,
well, that's a subject that could be covered in more detail. Are the options that seniors might have to order stuff without leaving the chair?
mm-hmm.
And you mentioned DoorDash. I've been using Uber Eats.
Mm-hmm.
There's Grubhub. There's a bunch
so many,
of them.
right?
There are.
And plus, there's a lot of restaurants themselves, if you call them or go on their website, will deliver. Now,
No,
yes,
I know we talked about this at an advisory, for people who don't have, the technology apps and whatnot, how do you do certain things? So, of course, it's a little more difficult. But, there really are, like, even with medications and pharmacies, obviously you can get CVS on the app to deliver things or whatever it might be, but there are a lot of local pharmacies, and it's so important, as you said, to call, because there are arrangements that can be made for a delivery kind of situation for a lot of these different things. So,
Yeah.
And, like Uber Eats, we use, because I think you were locked out at the time. But we got a gift certificate from our children while Bunny is recovering from her knee problem. And Uber Eats I've used quite often, actually. You get smoothies. They just opened up a tropical smoothie place.
It really opens up your whole kind of world to do those things, which is nice.
I mean, could I drive there? Yeah, it's not that far.
You guys are
and in
talking
some
about
cases
this.
I do drive there, but suppose I can't drive.
Yeah,
I could still do all these things.
it's true.
I can still get a Big Mac or an Egg McMuffin.
Yeah.
It's going to
You got like
cost
the
you.
same thing. That's like you sound like Barbara and Jimmy, my parents upstairs. Their orders that come in.
Did I use the delivery services?
Yeah, yes, they do.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's
Not my dad. My dad can't figure it out, but my mom does.
Kind of like making me chuckle a little bit because with my sons, in the summer, now of course one's at school and one's moved out, but in the summer, I go to sleep pretty early. I work, so I go to sleep and they're up, and throughout the night, we have the Ring doorbell. And it's like, it goes to my phone and I wake up. I'm like, who's at the door? It's, 12, it's midnight. And it's like McDonald's, McDonald's comes, he leaves. And then like 2 hours later, they order from, I don't even know the name of the place, but they get these shakes, the ice cream shakes. They're unbelievable. And then it's like that. That's my entire summer. I get waken up every night. My Ring tells such a hysterical story, and it's not like we're not eating dinner, but
but that's typical because listen, Beck, when my brother lived here, those were the things. It would be like Taco Bell at like random time, and my Jay would laugh because he'd be like, James, you can go drive through a drive-through. Like, what are you doing? Like where we live.
Yes, I know. It's hysterical. They waste so much money. It's like a thrill.
It's a convenience.
Every morning, I get up, they're asleep, depending on, Matt was working and everything. But, I get up, I make my coffee, I go to throw something in the garbage, and there's a bag of McDonald's. There's cups, what is these kids just, and it's every night. It is.
It's the way of the future,
Yeah. All right. So on that note, we have to take a quick break. Of course, you're listening to Project Independence in You on Community Talk Radio with Otto Los and Kristina Liu with Talk of the Town. We will be back shortly. You've been listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Now, welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los and Kristina Liu. I can't believe it's the last segment. It's getting pretty fun talking about, all the actual food deliveries that we get to our houses, whether it's Uber Eats or Amazon Prime. It's a whole nother universe. It's a whole nother world.
It is. No, and those are like the benefit, because I talk about it all the time with my husband. Those are like the perks and the convenience of this technology world. There's a lot of downfalls, obviously, but that convenience thing. And we were talking during the break, that my mom, she avoids like big supermarkets now, right? So she'll go on to like the local supermarket we have like right across the street, because she's like, it's too overwhelming, it's too crazy. She doesn't want to take like the chance, with anything going on. So we laugh at her downstairs, but it's really makes, it's good for her, because she just constantly is ordering anything that pops into her brain from Amazon Prime. So like she'll just have these random deliveries, and there was this like the other day I was laughing with my husband, there was like just a box filled with like Listerine. And I was like, what are we doing with all this Listerine? She's like, I use it constantly. So like, it's just better to have. So me and my brother called my mom Amazon Prime, because now that my brother lives in his own apartment, the phone calls are, oh, can you drop me off K-cups? Can I get, a roll of paper towel? So of course I delivered to him, and I was like, I'm like now the Amazon Prime delivery.
Yeah, you ought to get a hat that says Amazon
I
Prime on
should. I was like, because he was laughing too, because he knew it sounded funny. He's like, Mom, do you have like paper towels? Do you have K-cups? Do you have toilet? It's like all like this whole list now that he's, on his.
Now,
on his
Rebecca,
own.
I'm sorry, you mentioned the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
We have a Ring doorbell now, and it's something that really seniors ought to think about, because it gives you the ability to see who's at the door without opening the door.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's exactly what it's.
No, and
I
not
can
even
watch
being
it at
there.
my
You don't
house
even
now.
need. Yeah, you don't even need to be in the house, which I think is really,
That's true. But of course, you do need a smartphone.
Mhm.
It's a technology thing. There's no question about it. But if you have a smartphone, the Ring doorbell will show you who's at the door. Your phone will show you. It's a good
Yeah,
thing.
and these are, and this is the tricky thing, and obviously it comes up all the time, not just on this show. It comes up in our advisories. We just had one. Is this issue of people, not so it's hard because there's so many great resources out there. Even I got notified on my phone the other day about, Amazon Alexa and this care kind of thing they're doing now, especially for seniors. So you can check in on the senior, and there's all these different technology services now that, is really great because it can help, and so it's.
Did you get that from me, or is this something else that you got?
No, Otto, we had talked about a long time ago, and it was funny because I was in the car with my soon-to-be sister-in-law, and she has I forgot what the name is, but I think it's some kind of Amazon device, and she has it for her son. So he has it in his bedroom, and she could literally drop in at any point, no matter where she is. So when she's at work and he'll come home from school, she could see him. He's usually playing video games. But she could see him and communicate with him and say, Caleb, and he can communicate back with her. So it's really a great tool. And I had actually brought it up to our caregiver support group, because a lot of them, were saying that would be something beneficial for them. And it's really easy to use.
It's kind of like their version of a tablet, I think. Because I think I have it, yeah.
You could use that in your house, Christina. Your parents could have it upstairs. You have it downstairs. We do it here. You can say, I'm not going to say it because there's one on my desk, blah, blah, drop in on.
Yeah, let's not do that, because, I could just imagine now with the amount of time, the phone calls and text messages I get from my mom and dad. And golly, no, my dad would be dropping in 24/7 with something useless and some kind of request, because I laugh when I'm upstairs because he just sees me and looks for something to ask me to do. I'm like, it wasn't even on your radar until I entered the premises, and it's like, and my grandpa I must have something on my face, because my grandpa used to do that to me too. It's like, oh, well, you're here. Can you grab, can you get that for me? Oh, can you check this? So it's always, and I'm a sucker and I do it. And that's probably why they do it.
That's why they keep asking you.
Yeah. But please, we will have to hide this part of technology from my dad, because he would certainly be dropping in, 24/7 on me. So.
Do they have that upstairs?
No, they do not. Yes, no. We're just, we're constantly, we're just yelling up and down the stairs. We open the door and, give a shout. But yes, these are all the important things, and I think certainly as the time goes on, there's going to be more and more of this. And I think that they really can be beneficial, as we were talking about earlier about Alzheimer's, for if you are someone who is not in the home, to have these kind of programs where you're able to check in or send reminders or, whatnot. I think those are the perks, to this whole thing.
We have to get to a point, I think, where there are people who are very versed in that whole thing, and they can come in and set you up with the house based on what your needs might be.
I know.
Like I can diddle with it, but I'm not, I'm not going to be, and then I forget what I did.
Totally.
So I'm not going to go from house to house and set it up.
No, it's true. And, I'm always looking for the show. It's hard to find, right? But there's so many different companies and realms of people, so you're always trying to find like one kind of guru, who can talk about everything without, pushing one or the other. So it's certainly something that I'm always trying to keep my eye open for, because I think it's important. A lot of these things, you'll know bits and pieces. Like I'm with you, Otto. Like I know about, but I don't know the ins and outs of everything. And there really are things that could help you, and especially age in place. I think
Well,
that's
I was on
part.
the technical advisory committee
Yes.
with Nancy.
Mhm.
And during that process, and I'm not going to mention the names of these two stores, but they're major chains
Mhm.
and they sell all the smart home stuff.
Mhm.
And when you go into their stores, they have a big section on smart homes, what can go on in the home. So in both cases, I spoke to the manager of the store and explained what I was interested in,
Mhm.
that Project Independence, Town of North Hempstead, blah, blah, and that it would be great if they had somebody who could represent them, but
Mhm.
also educate and tell people we have services available where we would put the smart thermostat in and the
Right.
smartphone and the this and the that. And in one case, they had to get approval from the home office, which they never got. And in the other case, the guy says, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." But I called him twice,
Yeah.
never heard back. I'm not going to mention the names of the stores, but they are nationally known.
Mhm.
And I was disappointed in the uh, lack of. It's like a community service, if you will.
Right, it's a community
Yeah.
right. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
It's because that's the roadblock I've got. When I'm always looking for someone, to do this.
Well, they really missed the
Question.
boat because look what happened over, the pandemic.
Mhm.
And, it would have been really helpful if one of them kind of hopped
Yeah.
on the bandwagon and helped people, to upgrade their homes and, make them smart homes. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
well,
for
I think-
free, not for free. They would
right,
be,
yeah.
doing this as a
Of course, it's a
business.
service.
Uh,
Well, if there's anyone that is out there that is well versed on this topic or knows someone that is, please call 311 or 516-869-6311. Because I definitely it's something that I'm always looking to have, especially on the show and just for programming for Project Independence as well. But I also want to mention, because I know we're in our last segment, next week is Thanksgiving. And I just want to remind people that there are lots of local food pantries out there and different churches. If you or someone that is struggling, there's our Meals on Wheels program. There's a lot of different services out there for someone who might be alone, who doesn't have family or whatever it might be. So please, you can connect to one of our PI social workers when you call 311, because I think we just want to remind people. I know it's a happy time for a lot of people, but it could be a difficult time for others.
Right.
So, but what are you two doing? What are your holiday plans? Are you cooking?
Yes. Yeah, I'm cooking, and I'm sad because my younger son, who's away at school, won't be coming home. It'll be the first Thanksgiving that I've not spent with him, and I'm like off.
Yes.
I'm just not preparing the same way. And of course Matt will be there, coming from his new apartment. So I'm in this new phase of life. And yeah, we're just gonna have my brother and his wife and Uncle Arthur, of course, is gonna come over, and that's my mother's brother and mom. And we'll just have a nice little Thanksgiving, and it'll be.
I know, because I also think like part of it too. It's like Thanksgiving just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Like I was like, what? All of a sudden it was like fall started, and now it's like Thanksgiving, and I was like, what? Like I feel like I fell asleep and missed like a full month or something.
and Christmas is not far behind.
I know I need to snap my brain into. I started last night. I was like, all right, Kristina, you got to get that thinking cap on, because it's just like there's just so much going on.
Hanukkah starts right after Thanksgiving, so it's just one whole month of parties and eating,
yes,
and all that.
All right.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Me, it's gonna be just me, my husband, and then my mom and dad, who are upstairs, and then my brother, and his fiance are coming over. So it's just this quiet little thing, which is nice.
Nice.
We could, I like that. It's we did the past couple of years, and it's just quiet. We could be in our pajamas if we want to. It's like it's a low pressure situation. So
Kristina loves her pajamas.
yeah, I just like let's just stay cozy. So my mom is the cooker. she does a lot of my grandma's recipes and stuff, so I'll help her out. But I'm, like the table designer and making sure we have all the things
sure.
that we need. So
You
we're
eat
like,
downstairs?
yeah, we eat downstairs.
Yeah. So the food has to go from top to bottom.
Yeah, well, we kind of have two things going. So she's got stuff in the oven upstairs. I have stuff in the oven downstairs.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be using my new oven. I have a convection
Oh yes.
oven. It's I guess it's a convection oven. I guess it's just the air. It's not a regular electric. So I'm using that for the turkey for the first time. So, and yeah. And I'm like, I hear the convection oven is a lot like an air fryer, and I love my air fryer for everything.
Like, I'm like,
barely
I'm
put
the
my
air fry
oven
queen.
on.
I love to air fry.
It's so wonderful. I love it.
Now, Otto, what about yourself? What are you doing?
We will be going to daughter Jen's house. 18 people.
Small group.
Turkey, I spring for. We buy it somewhere. We used
How much does it weigh?
I have no idea. It was $150 for the turkey. And I won't mention it, but it's a place over in Lake Success that you guys are familiar with. And then everybody else pitches in and does a little something here and there. Bunny always did make the turkey, but she's not up to speed this year with the knee problem. So we're buying it at a place, and I always look forward to it.
It is. All right. Now I have the burning question what is your favorite dish for Thanksgiving? Like, what is your must-have item?
Must-have? Oh, I mean, of course, you have to have stuffing, and it has to be.
Is that what you really look forward to? Is that like your main? Because that's definitely, my mom makes we call it my grandma stuffing, but it's like a Greek version. And my grandma always made it, and it is just like my favorite thing in the entire universe. And I really look forward to, when it's Thanksgiving time and having that, because it's just like, it's my traditional kind of dish.
Yeah, I mean, I love sweet potatoes. I love the sweet potato pie. My mother makes it with marshmallows. I don't know why,
Bunny does that same thing.
It's so good to just put that on the fork with anything else with gravy. But my favorite part of any meal is dessert. So, I'm eating my dinner just to get to dessert. Pies, ice cream, anything sweet. What about you, Otto? Great question, though, Kristina.
You got me thinking.
These are the burning questions I like to know.
They have mushrooms, which I happen to like mushrooms because you don't get them very often. Like put them on a steak with onions or whatever. I'm not big on the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm more of a plain sweet potato gal.
Yeah,
I
right.
like
Yeah. And they make turnips, which I like. The turkey, I eat a piece of the turkey because you're obligated to eat some of the turkey. But that's like the low part of it.
It is.
I like
it's
the
all the turkey is somewhere underneath the mounds of
side. Right. You have to have turkey. All right. So, okay, we have turkey. We used to have turkey and ham because there were people who didn't want turkey. So I said, look, you don't like turkey, then you eat everything else. There's no reason to make two.
I don't put his foot down on that one.
And dessert's always a good thing as far as that goes.
What's your favorite pie of choice?
Me?
Yep.
I would like, I would say a good lemon meringue pie.
Oh.
Maybe blueberry with a little ice cream on top of it.
I like that. I'm a coconut custard gal. I
like coconut custard too.
I never was until Jay, and I have to give it to him because now I'm obsessed with coconut. When I started dating Jay a bazillion years ago, he got me in, and I love it. That is listen, let's also be clear. I have to taste take a sliver of every pie because I don't want to leave any pie out. Because if anyone knows me and my mom, we'll have 4 people at dinner and they'll be Lord only knows how many pies because we just can't make a decision on anything. But coconut custard is always my initial And then I like to work my way. I'll have a little pumpkin, a little blueberry, a little apple.
Yeah.
See, that's me. I don't need a big piece of anything.
No, I just need like
I want to
right.
sample
everything.
most of it.
You know what I
I'll have
love?
a little,
A good pecan pie.
okay.
Those are really good. I like the pecan.
You know what
with
I was
warm.
never huge on it, and then in recent times I like it because you know what I really like, and I have to give a special shout out to the senior group that meets over that brings us a little baked goods on Tuesdays, you know, which is very kind. It puts in the kitchen. The pecan ring.
Oh, so good.
That was absolutely phenomenal. I was talking about it for days.
Yeah, that was really good.
With icing on it?
Yeah, but it wasn't excessive.
Yeah.
It's just like a little, like, you know, slight drizzle.
Right.
Delicious.
Right.
A plus. So, you know, I had to give a shout out to that pecan ring because I was certainly thinking about it for days later. But these are important things. Now, do you guys bake your pies or are you buying your pies? What's your family do?
You're not talking to me.
Well,
My
just the family.
I
sister-in-law.
eat what they do.
My sister-in-law Meg makes the most amazing pies, and she's a really good. She's really good at that. So she'll make pies, or
Yeah,
depends on what we're
pie
doing.
buyers. I mean, I'll make a pudding pie. That's like Kristina's pie, but that's usually my Christmas chocolate pudding pie, just because I personally like love it.
I would say that in our end, they make, one is a specialist in brownies and chocolate chip cookies,
Ooh,
but beyond that, it's store bought.
yeah, we're not. You know, pies. It takes a lot. Listen, you got to have. I always say baking is like a science. And
It
it's a
is.
science
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really cut out for. I've tried to like dabble, but it's just I have no patience for it, and I wish I did because you know my grandma and my mom, like they're like wonderful bakers, and I just don't really have that gene. I'll go buy it and I will put it on a pretty platter, but that's really it. So we're every year my mom's trying on a hunt for like where to find the best pie at different places. So I'll give you the hot take when we come back after next week on the pie.
I didn't hear anybody mention fruit for dessert.
That is one thing that I've never seen. You know, sometimes we'll have fruit on our salad. Jay's like the gourmet salad maker. He always comes up with some like kind of creative. So he had like some pears on the salad last year, which was nice. And that's really it. And then there's apples in the apple pie and blueberries.
Yeah, but if you ever really look close, like somebody comes and they bring a little thing of fruit,
Yes,
it usually is intact when the meal is over.
it's true.
And that's what you should eat, but that's not what everybody eats.
True. But listen, there are a lot of vegetables though, and we have to all remember our mindful eating tips that we got
That's right.
a couple of weeks ago, and we had it at the advisory as well. And you know, something that always stuck with me is just like having your plate be colorful. You know, because then the more colorful your plate is, the chances are you probably have a good balance of stuff going on. So I always kind of try, and it looks pretty anyway, but that's always been in the back of my mind. We had, the Cornell Cooperative had mentioned that, you know, a couple of years ago, and it always kind of stuck in my brain because if you think about it, if you have all like heavy carbs, it's going to be like a very bland colored plate. But if you have a mix, there you go. So just have a colorful plate and then you'll feel better about yourself and it all works out in the end.
Yeah. It all tastes good. We have fruit. I mean, just to get back, we always have fruit. I have to say that we get a big bowl of fruit and whipped cream and all that. And when I put it away on Thanksgiving, it's still a big bowl of fruit. So I think people are going for the pies. It's not, you know, a huge draw, but, you know, we put it out there.
Listen, it's the thought. It's the intention. You put the intention out there.
Absolutely.
You know, it's hard to
really
get good fruit, in my opinion. I won't mention the store that we go to, but we go there and I get fruit and it looks good and the peach looks good, but then it's like a rock and it has no taste whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, fruit is hard to get. I just did something that really actually worked. In the frozen department, there was a thing of assorted fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this thing about frozen fruit. So I got the frozen fruit and just this very morning,
you got to speak quick.
I put it in the microwave and it was delicious. It tasted like fruit.
There you go.
That's good.
Good to hear.
Fruit tastes like fruit.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Reflect on all your blessings, gratitude, practice your gratitude. And I just wish everyone a blessed, healthy Thanksgiving.
I second that.
3rd.